Hello everyone, so I've got a 2003 Santa Fe. This has the 4-cylinder dual overhead cam 2.4 liter engine. 212,000 miles on it. I've had it since it had 60,000 miles. I had it break down on my daughter when she was coming back from school. And I've taught her how to run the codes, because when this happened before, a crank sensor went bad, but it gave me the code for the crank sensor. In this case, when she ran the code, it just said link error, so it wouldn't give her any kind of code. And she was just driving down the road, and it stalled on her. So being that she was 7 hours away, I thought again that it may be a crank sensor. And if you've ever done one of these crank sensors, here's the wiring for it. It goes down there behind the power steering pump. You have to remove the timing belt to get to the crank sensor. So that's the first thing I started checking when I went to see what was going on with the vehicle. It wasn't getting any fire to the spark plugs, and the fuel pump wasn't kicking on, which is, if I remember correctly, what happens when that crank sensor goes bad. Anyways, so after further review, what I found is that there was quite a few fuses for the engine computer, which is what I suspected. There's a big fuse here, which you can tell when it breaks if it goes bad. And then there's 1, 2, 3, 4 other fuses here. And this is all underneath the in the engine compartment. What you have to remember though, when you're checking some of these ECU fuses, they won't have any power going to them unless you have the key in the on position. So you'll see right here, this was the blown fuse. It's got a little blown little tear in the fuse there. Nice thing about this truck is they give you this nice little fuse remover. If you listen carefully, you might hear the fuel pump kick on when I put the fuse back in. I'm not sure if that was a fuel pump, but it sent power to something. So anyhow, once I did that, then it made the connection here. By the way, there is another fuse for the computer on the fuse box inside the vehicle. And if you need a spare fuse, if you see the ones over here to the left of all the regular fuses, those are all spare fuses. So there's like one of each of the 4 different sizes, so you can use those. So put the fuse in, started right up, no engine codes. I suspect I may still have a problem with the computer, which is behind this panel here. So you have to pull out these little screws to get that panel out. That's how you get to the connections on the computer. But if you actually look on this other side, once you remove the same panel on the other side and pull the carpet down, you'll see the computer. So this is, I found a used one on eBay, because that computer is $1,600 at the dealer. So I haven't pulled the connections off to check them. I'm assuming everything's okay because it's never been touched. But there's 3 bolts, 2 on this side and 1 on the back side that hold it in. And that's the next thing. So I actually, once I got the fuse in, I was able to drive it all the way home, which is like a 7-hour drive. No issues starting and stopping. It's been running fine today. So I may not mess with the computer. I'm just going to be driving here locally. And if it doesn't give me any more problems, I may just hold on to the computer just as backup in case it does it again. But anyways, just wanted to pass that along. Link error is, again, what it showed on the scan tool. Good luck.